Hello, everyone, and welcome to the latest edition of the Jacob Elyachar Podcast. I'm your host, Jacob Elyachar, the chief content producer and writer of jakesake.com, a pop culture entertainment news website. Now, if you're watching us on YouTube, please give us a thumbs up and please subscribe to my YouTube channel and join our community. Now, if you're listening to any of our audio platforms, please give us a 5-star rating. Download this episode and more episodes. I am thrilled to welcome our next guest. She is a singer, songwriter, and musician. And her music has been praised by Audacity, MTV, Pop Crush, and Rolling Stone. As of this recording, she has over 55,700 Spotify monthly listeners. And as of this recording, she has over 65,000 Instagram followers and 85,000 TikTok followers. Please help me welcome Lily Kincade to the podcast.
Hello.
Hi, Lily. Thank you so much for taking time in your schedule to talk with me today. I really appreciate it.
I'm so happy to be here.
And guys, before we get started, we were talking before we got online, and Lily and I are both born from Kansas.
Crazy. Small world. Yes, the heart of the country.
Absolutely. So it's great to have you, a fellow Kansan in the house. It's rare I have Kansans in the house.
Honored to be here.
Awesome, Lily. So let's get started. So, Lily, when did you get interested in performing, and how did that passion evolve into desire to pursue a career in the recording industry?
I was always singing when I was little. My parents would always say oh, you were just singing before you could talk. I was always just making up stories. I'm an only child, so I felt like I had a lot of imaginary friends when I was younger, and I would just kind of be, in my own world. When I was in kindergarten, though, I started taking piano lessons, and I would just spend literally after school, I would just come home and I would be at the piano for hours, just making up stories and learning things. And I was always just interested in storytelling in whatever form that was. I loved reading as a child. My parents would take away my books because I would just be reading all night. They're you're going to bed, and they would take my book away. But I loved just telling stories, I think. And I did spend a lot of time alone as a kid, not having any siblings. And so I really loved just diving into storytelling, and it made me feel less alone. And then that turned into storytelling in my own way in songwriting, and, having a safe space to go to talk about what I was feeling or what I was going through, and not feeling judged was really what helped me kind of lean into it. So it's always performing, and storytelling has always been in my bones. It's always been in my bones. I always say I think everybody's made for something, and I think you just have to make the choice to follow through on that. And so that's kind of what I did with performing.
I totally agree, Lily, because the thing is, I was cut from the same cloth. Yes, I have my younger brother Aaron. Shout out to my brother Aaron, and my sister-in-law Whitney, and my brother and my niece Emery, and my nephew Nash, and my donkey nephew Maxwell. But however, the thing is, I had a lot of action figures. I played a lot, and I made a lot of lists. Made some suggestions. In fact, I even wrote to I.M. Saban, who owned the Power Rangers at the time, about a Power Rangers Secret War idea. So I loved creativity, and eventually that led me to study journalism and start my own blog, and here we are.
I love that. You're similar to me, where I was I'm just gonna do it. A lot of times I feel we wait on people, or we feel we can't start this, but it's why not you? Why not you? Just if there's something you like to do, just do it.
Absolutely. And I gotta say this. Who are the performers that inspired you? You inspired yourself.
Ooh, obviously I would say the biggest people that have inspired me musician wise, Taylor Swift and Lana Del Rey. I mean, I grew up on them. I remember going to my first Taylor Swift concert with my mom when I was younger, and we've been to every tour together. And I just loved her storytelling. She made all these like weird moments feel like you weren't alone in the little moments, you know, when that guy didn't call you back, or it was being, it made you just feel like you were part of something. And I just remember just being like, oh my goodness. Like, and I loved how she cared about the fans, and she was always true to herself. And like, that's something you can say about Taylor Swift now. It's like, she's always been true to herself. She's always written what she's wanted to write. Even if people said, oh, that's not good, that's not going to be popular, she's like, no, but this is the truth. And so I love seeing like her integrity and her ability to remain authentic to what she wants to make and the story she wants to tell, even with the amount of fame she has. And then like Lana Del Rey too. I remember I grew up dancing too. So I was kind of like two worlds. I was like piano and I started playing guitar and writing songs, but then I also was dancing. I love dancing. And I remember the first Lana Del Rey song I heard was, I think it was 2012, 2013. I was in like jazz class or something. And we were doing a dance to Diet Mountain Dew, which is like one of my favorite Lana Del Rey songs. And I just loved her, like, I love the production of Lana Del Rey. Like that always inspired me, like how she created worlds within her sound. And then, yeah, and then I have the storytelling of Taylor Swift. And I feel like that definitely kind of informed who I am today, for sure.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think they're both of some of our generation's top storytellers. And I got to say this, I think what Taylor has done is taken the ball that Carole King and Stevie Nicks have started and the Wilson sisters have started, and she's pushed it to and evolved it into a rock that no one can touch.
Yeah.
And also I gotta add that I love Lana Del Rey, and like Summertime Sadness is just pure hypnotica. And also there's Town on Ocean Boulevard is amazing. And also the thing is,
she sits on my piano.
Oh wow. Guys, for those of you who are listening to the podcast, Lily has Lana Del Rey's interview magazine.
You know, just you got to surround yourself with things that inspire you, you know? So she sits on my piano sometimes up there.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I got to say this, and I'm so glad I did duet all now. I'm like, because the thing is, it's like a headline making event. It's like basically Brandy and Monica's Boy Is Mine.
Yeah.
All right, but we're not here to talk about all these legendary artists, including Taylor and Lana. We're going to talk about you, Lily. So several major legacy media outlets such as Adapt, Odyssey, MTV, Pop Crush, and Rolling Stone have featured your music. So what does it mean to be recognized by these legendary legacy brands?
It is definitely very exciting. And I always feel so grateful to be recognized by these, you know, these huge like legacy brands that of course, like, you know, I've looked up to and been reading and getting music inspiration and music from since I was little. But I would say that like, while it feels great too, it's also like, I never feel any pressure. It's more of like, you know, a responsibility that like, you know, I chose what I'm doing and like, music is subjective, right? And I think I always am like, I'm not making music to please people. I'm not making music to please critics. I want to make music that is relatable to me. And if it's relatable to me, it's relatable to other people. And so like, I feel like the more attention my music gets, I like it because it's like, it just reminds me, I feel like more responsibility to, you know, make sure I am a good role model and make sure that, you know, people can see me as like a safe space or somebody that they can grow with, and that they can see that, you know, if they work hard enough and if they spend the time, like they too can achieve their goals. Like, yeah, it may take a long time, but everything that's really good takes a long time. And I think that's been interesting to see, like, because even now it's like, yeah, I have these awesome like publications like noticing my songs, but it's like, I didn't start yesterday. I've been writing since I was little. When I was 14, that's when I moved to California. And I would say like when I was 14 was when I actively was like, I'm pursuing this. And I'm 23 now. So it's like, that's almost 10 years. And I've written thousands of bad songs and thousands, but it's like, you have to put in your 2,000 hours and you got to do something you really love. And when you do it from a place of love, you're not trying to like please other people or like chase that validation.
Absolutely, absolutely. And also this is another thing I love about this, is because the thing is, I never thought that 2011, when I graduated college and received a lot of notes from media industry, that I'd be able to start a brand and start a blog that's been on for 13 years, and now currently we're in our 5th anniversary season of our podcast, of my podcast. Never thought I would reach 300 episodes. Never thought I would have over 10,000 lifetime audio downloads. So it does not, you're right. It takes time for all this. And a lot of people think because thanks to TikTok and how people like Charli D'Amelio have blown up, also the Kardashians have blown up. It takes a massive time for those people who don't know.
Yeah, it takes a lot of time. And I especially think for people who want to be artists, it's like, yes, you can be famous, you can do these things, you can get your 15 minutes of fame, but anybody who's wanting to be a serious artist, who wants to be able to actually do it sustainably, you can't be making music to chase trends. You can't live your life like that. You can't, you have to remain true to yourself. And like, if you are consistent with it, like it's so basic that it's true. It's like, stay consistent and eventually people will find another passion or, oh, I don't want to do that anymore. And like at a certain point, you're the only one left. And so like, I just love seeing that. And it's been cool too, to see, some of my peers or people that I'm friends with, like start to get their like flowers. Like I love Chapel Roan. And like, she says the same thing too. Like, just, you have to be consistent. It takes a lot of time. Of course, it's going to take a good time. It's like slow and steady wins the race. All of those cheesy little things that you like heard as a kid and cliches, like they're true for a reason. As much as we like hate on them, they're true for a reason.
Absolutely, absolutely. You brought up Chapel Roan because the thing is, I love seeing a Midwest success story. That album, it took me a while to listen to it. It took me a year, but that album's amazing. And I really hope that you and her can do a collaboration together because it'll be the best of the Midwest.
Yes, one day we need to. I was like, we got the Kansas, we got the Missouri. Love it.
And besides, you can end the border war.
Yeah. It's only 2-state city, I believe, Kansas City.
Absolutely, absolutely. Absolutely. And besides, both their metropolitan areas would exactly be thrilled if you guys collaborated together.
We will one day, manifesting it, putting it out there.
We are putting it out there in the universe. So it's not just those 4 media outlets that you were noticed by. You were also invited by the Recording Academy to perform on the GRAMMYs website. So can you describe how that performance came about?
Yeah, that was awesome. I had a song that I had written. It's one of my like favorite songs I had written. It was really personal. And specifically, I was like, people were saying, oh, like, don't release this song. It's too long. Like, this song's really long. The song's called 3 Months. And it's like 4 minutes and 30 something seconds long, like very long, not especially in the age of like a song being 2 minutes, and so like short and catchy for TikTok. I was like, no, like there's something special about this song. I had written this song after like having a 3-month relationship, and it was like my way of kind of like processing it and allowing myself to like feel it and heal it. And I was like, I know this song is so special. So I did not give up on this song. And I just, started playing it. I would post videos of me playing it, singing it. And I was like, as I was working on the production, kind of finishing the song, because I'm like, music can be very lonely, especially like me. I do write a lot by myself, or I'm just working with one producer. And like, I was like, I want to be able to like talk about this and share it, because it's like more fun when you have people to do it with you. So I would kind of do that with my fans, and people started seeing the song, and it got attention. And then the Recording Academy contacted me, and I got to do a special performance and talk about it, which was really cool, because I appreciate songwriting and the craft of songwriting so much, and to like be validated for the songwriting and the storytelling is like a big deal to me. Like, I'm somebody where it's like, I don't think I would be a singer or be an artist if I wasn't writing my own songs. Like, it doesn't feel like I always say like music is a gift of mine, is a tool, but my real gift and like the thing that I feel like I'm truly made for is like communication in whatever way that may be, but I just love just like storytelling, and I love lyrics. Like, I'm a huge like music nerd. When I was younger, I would break down. This is what I would do for summer break. When I was in like middle school, I would literally print off lyrics from the Billboard like 200 like chart of all the songs. And then I would I was crazy. I would analyze the songs. I'd be like, oh my God, what's the rhyme scheme of this? I would like analyze. I was like a nerd. I had like binders, and they would be like highlighted and stuff. But it's because I just loved it. And I was like, this is so fascinating. Like, I love like problem solving and like puzzles. And I kind of sometimes will look at music like that. But yeah, that was a long answer.
Well, here's the thing. It sounds like you created a course of AP pop culture music, 2000s to now.
Yes, I did.
No problem. And also, I got to say, I always admire the songwriters. For me, when I mention people, it's Bernie Taupin. It's basically Desmond Child, Diane Warren, Max Martin. Those are my Mount Rushmore of songwriters who don't perform.
Yes. And it's like, people don't realize how like cool it is. It's like, some people are like, oh, you don't want to be boxed in like musical math, but it's like, no, sometimes it's really cool, like to challenge yourself to be like, I want all these syllables to exactly rhyme. Like, sometimes because whenever I'm writing a song, it's completely different. And I think that's why people who do what I do, like, love it so much, is because it's truly like, it's different every time. Like, you cannot duplicate the process. You could spend your whole life trying to duplicate it. You're never going to. And so it's like, each moment is so special. But like, sometimes when I'm writing a song, it's just like, I'm sitting down and I'm just getting my feelings out. Other times I'm like, oh, I want to challenge myself to like write something with this rhyme structure. Like, I think it's so cool. Like, I think it's like you need to be open to different ways of creativity in whatever field it is. It's like if you're a painter, like experiment with like a different style of paint. You know what I mean? Like that's how you're gonna grow and learn.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think everyone needs to learn as well. So, what have been some of the challenges that you face staying in the music industry, and how have you overcome those obstacles?
I think a lot of the challenges would be I never really say it's like external challenges because at the end of the day, it's like, if you try to please like people on the business side of the industry is all changing with social media. But the real thing that I've always seen and I've always said, it's like, I'm not trying, the record labels aren't my boss. Those people aren't my boss. You know who the boss is? The fans. The boss is the fans. So it's like, I feel lucky because, I learned from Taylor Swift. It's like, those are the people that I want to make a difference in their lives. Those are the people who I actually want to connect with. And so I think I spend my time focused on that versus trying to like chase success or like, oh, I need to try to like climb up this way in the industry. And I think that has been very helpful at keeping me focused on the art because I'm not worried about that stuff. I'm like, that will come. All I'm here to do is literally to write stories about my experiences and then find the people that are like, oh my God, that happened to me. And I'm like, oh my God, that's crazy. Now we can talk about it because we're all human and we can grow together. And so I think it's just been like a challenge for me has just been staying focused on that because it can be so easy. And like, I'm not going to lie, we're all human. Like, of course you're going to feel comparison when you see people that it's like, oh, they wrote this like TikTok song and now it's like has all these streams. But at the end of the day, it's like, it's not about the streams. Like, what is that going to do? That's not going to make you feel fulfilled. What's going to make you feel fulfilled is like getting to connect with real people about real experiences and stories that are true to you. And so I think I've just been focusing on that. And it can be hard because, slow and steady wins the race. So I just maintain like, instead of comparing myself to other people, I try to like compare myself to like my former self. And that's like advice I would give anyone. It's like, whenever you start to feel those feelings of like, oh, I'm not doing enough. I should be here by this age. I should be doing this. Like literally look at yourself a year ago. And I guarantee you, like the you from a year ago would be like, oh my God, you did all of that. Like would be so proud. And so that's like kind of the challenge is like keeping my mindset like that in this industry.
Absolutely, and absolutely. You bring up a great point because the thing is, I've been talking with a lot of people, and they've said what they said with this is like it's not it's a marathon, not a sprint. Number one, and number two, it's like basically I'd rather have 1,000 loyal listeners than 10 million fans.
Yeah. Yeah, who you feel actually like are invested because it's like at the end of the day, like we can take none of this with us when we die. We can't take this with us, but like we are truly like we are here to like go through life together. And I think focusing on like the soul and like focusing on people will never steer you wrong.
Absolutely, absolutely. And the thing is, two of my heroes, the legendary Regis Philbin and Barbara Walters, both of them who passed away, they had over 50 years in respectively in the industry. And I'd rather be on their path. Yes, it's a long road path, but the thing is, a lot more people have more memories of those people than where they and basically flash pan where they now and find out in surreal life or something like that in years later.
Exactly.
All righty, so let's talk about some music and the stories behind your songs. So I picked some of your top Spotify listen to songs, and I would love to learn the stories behind them.
Yes. Okay. You let me know which ones. I love talking about the story behind songs because, like I said, it's different every time, and it's so fascinating to me.
All righty, I want to start off with the song that brought you to my attention. It's "Let Me Leave," and as of this recording, 17,700 Spotify streams.
Yes. Okay. "Let Me Leave" is a song I just released, so you can stream it everywhere. But I love this song. I love storytelling and I love songwriting, and I think it's important too that, especially being a female in the industry, you see this with Taylor Swift. People still don't believe that we can write our own songs without the help of other people, and so I always make sure on projects to have at least a couple songs that I write fully by myself. And so like this song I wrote literally on this piano by myself, and like I love co-writing too, and I have the best people that I get to work with. But like when I write a song by myself, it just feels extra vulnerable and special. But this is a song I wrote, crazy enough, like 2 years ago about a situation I went through where I was seeing this boy I had a crush on, and it was just, I got to this point where I think I like went through it. I went through it. I was like growing and learning and, maturing as a adult and just realizing my value. And I remember being one day just being like, you know what, like, yes, I like this person, but I value myself and I value myself more. And I'm at a point now in my life where it's like, I'm not going to beg somebody to love me. Like, if they don't see that, that's fine, because I know now that like my love and like the love that you give to others is a gift, and there'll be people who see that and don't waste it anymore. So writing the song is very therapeutic for me because I was able to like kind of like process it as I was writing it. But yeah, Let Me Leave is a good one. It's a good one. It's a cry. Sometimes I laugh. Sometimes I'm like happy when I'm singing it. Sometimes I'm really sad when I'm singing it. But I kind of say that that's my type of music. I'm like, I like the music that you can almost like feel like any feeling with it sometimes.
Absolutely, absolutely. And then I would love to talk about Wish You Would Have. It's 194,400 Spotify streams of this recording.
Oh, yes, I love that song. That song is on my second EP, LA Doesn't Miss Me, and that was one of the first songs, or no, that may have been, no, that was one of the last songs I wrote for that EP, actually. I wrote it like right before Christmas, talking about, and I was just, reflecting as you do around the holidays. I feel like it's a very nostalgic time for everybody. And so I was like thinking about the year before, and I was just thinking about all these different emotions, and ended up getting together with two of my friends, and we were just kind of zooming. We were doing a little virtual writing session, and we just kind of like that song was one of like the fastest songs I think to write. Like, it just came out so quickly and like so naturally. But, just kind of thinking about, oh, I wonder what would happen like if last year, if like everything went different. And I feel like, everybody does that. We all like question the what ifs in life. And I don't know. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. And speaking of LA Doesn't Miss Me, I was listening to that song before we got on, and boy, oh boy, it's a big one. It's a really stab you in the heart. The chorus is like, all the people that I told are not are like forgetting me. It's like it's a powerhouse song, and 332,000 Spotify streams can't be wrong.
Yeah, and it's cool too because doing everything independently, I'm like right now with like, self-funding things, it's like I would rather use money to focus on making new songs and making new songs. And so it's like really cool to see, because like most of everything that you see in streams has been like completely organic. Yes, I've had songs on Spotify playlists, but like even my biggest song has been on 0 Spotify editorial playlist. And like that's just proof to me that like the right people will find your music. If you're making good music and you're being true to yourself, people will find it. But with LA Doesn't Miss Me, I wrote that song on this piano too. And I feel like everybody has it's so funny when I was listening to Chaperone's album, like California, I'm like, why do all these Midwestern girls got these songs about how much they hate California? Yet we still moved back. But I wrote this song. I remember this was pre-pandemic. I had started going back and forth from California to Nashville because I was starting to write a lot there and work with a lot of my friends. And so I obviously now I go back and forth, but it was I never went away to college. So that was like my first time. I moved like at the beginning of February 2020. And so like going there in February 2020 and then coming back to LA for my birthday, it was like interesting because it was the first time I'd really like been like, oh, I'm like moving here. I'm going to be spending more time here. It was the first time I'd like, gone back and see how people reacted and changed. And as a recovering people pleaser, I think it hurt a lot to see like, yes, obviously I still had like my close friends and people that really cared about me, but there were so many people where I was like, oh my gosh, I realized like I was loving them so much more than it may have been, or, than they cared. And that's a hard feeling. And I feel like everyone has that feeling, whether it be like you go away to college and you come back home for summer break and like you suddenly like don't relate to your friends anymore. And it can be very isolating. And I just remember like I wrote that song on my birthday at like 2 a.m. And yeah. And it's like, I love LA. It's just one of those songs where it's like, I don't know, it's okay to feel lonely sometimes. Like sometimes I would feel bad, like, oh, I can't be sad, like, because I have all these amazing friends around me. I have these amazing people in my life. But, I think feelings are just feelings. Like, don't put too much pressure on them. It's okay to feel sad and have it not make sense. Like, feelings aren't logical. Feelings are irrational. And me writing that song, like crying at like 2 a.m. on my 19th birthday was like very therapeutic and like just kind of helped me a lot. And so, I mean, I still listen to that song. I listened to that EP 2 days ago for like the first time in a while, and it was like really cool to listen to. And like, feelings don't last forever. It gets better. Obviously, I don't feel that way now most of the time, but yeah, that song is really special for me.
It is a very special song, and it's very definitely. I definitely have the feels of like feelings of like leaving friends behind, and like see when people leave your life. It's definitely heartbreaking.
Yeah, and it's like that bittersweet where you're like, I don't know, I think it's like I'm somebody who's like so sentimental that I like take photos of everything, and then like on a deeper level I literally write songs about specific niche moments in my life so that I never can forget them. And being somebody who does remember like I have a crazy memory. I remember everything. I like it can be so hard to let those moments go, but like as I've gotten older, I've realized, nothing lasts forever, good and bad. It can be easy to like want to be like, yeah, nothing lasts forever when you're in a bad season, but remember that in the good seasons. Like don't rush past it. Don't rush where you are, like, and that's something too, back to, talking about like playing the long game. It's like, don't rush past these seasons. I know there's gonna be one day where I'm like, oh, I wish I had that time. Like, I wish I had that time to like really sit and write when I'm busy touring the world and traveling. So it's like, no matter what season you're in, good or bad, it will not last forever. And so like, just be where you are now and take advantage of the season that you're in.
Absolutely, absolutely. So Sweet and Low, we're getting up to a big number here, 868,000 Spotify streams.
Oh, I love Sweet and Low. Sweet and Low was the first song that I released when I really was like, I'm ready. Cause I've been making music since I was little. So like in the past I have released music, but this was like after a long break, I had to figure out my sound. Sweet and Low is one of the weirdest stories, but like so cool. I love this story. This was about 4 years ago. I remember because it's the day, it was like, I wrote the song the night that Folklore came out, which was like icon moment. That's one of my favorite albums. Love it. But I remember it was during the pandemic, so not much to do, right? I was just usually doing kind of Zoom sessions with my friends all day. I would literally just sit, I'm in like my music room at my house in California. And I would just like be here, like on my guitar, on the piano, Zooming with my friends. And the day before I had a session with a couple of my friends, one of my best friends and I, we would just like kind of go to the beach. We would just like go on walks and go to the beach because there was really nothing else to do. And we would go watch the sunrise because we're like, why not? We can wake up early. And one day we were like, so we wanted coffee. We were so tired. And so we looked for coffee places. There was no coffee places open except for this one Dunkin' Donuts. And my friend orders this coffee. And I remember her saying like, could I get like some stevia in it? And the lady was like, we don't have stevia, but we have Sweet and Low. And my songwriter brain was just like, ooh, Sweet and Low. Like, I cannot even tell you why I was like paying attention, but I just was. And then I remember thinking about Sweet and Low and I was like, oh, it's like really sweet. But it's like empty, like there's no calories, like there's no nutrients, but then it's also like not good for you in the long run, but it's like very tempting. And I was like, it was just pondering in my head all day. My songwriter brain was awake. It was pondering in my head all day, and got home that night and I was just coming up with these melodies and like Sweet and Low. I was like, oh, Sweet and Lonely. I was in a weird situationship thing at this time. And then the next day I had a session with a couple of my friends in Canada and I was like, guys, I have this like weird idea based off a packet of like Sweet and Low, but like it could be cool. And we wrote the song over Zoom.
That's an amazing story. That's an amazing story because I remember the pandemic days walking in New York City with a mask, feeling like going to Central Park and back to my apartment and then try and grab Dunkin' Donuts while wearing a mask at the same time. So it was very, very isolating. But however, the thing was I had my books and comic books too, and podcasts to keep me company, and also podcasting as well. So
yeah, no, it's like so cool. I feel like that's one of the coolest things to like come out of the season is like, I feel like people, because it's like me and you probably as well. It's like I did a lot of work online. Like I had people that I wrote with and stuff that lived like in other countries. So it's like pre-pandemic, it's like they can't always be in town, when we want to like write or do something or have a meeting. But like I love it because I feel like so many more people realize that it's like you can still do so much over the internet and like, we can connect and like take advantage of these tools that we have.
Absolutely, absolutely. So the last song is probably your biggest song. It is Real. And as of today, 9.3 million Spotify streams.
Crazy. And that's on Spotify alone. And that song, like I was saying with Real, like Real has never been on any Spotify playlist at all. Like I've had so many amazing songs. Like I feel so grateful, but it's just so, and honestly, I'm so like, I love that it has not had any playlisting because it just shows me that like, there's people out there that will find your music all organically. People will find it and people will connect with it. And like, if that's not proof of that, I don't know what is. But that song, there just is something about it. I knew it was special. I remember writing that song and I was like playing the demo for like some of my friends. And sometimes I know in the moment that I'm like, okay, this song is like a hit. And sometimes I don't know. But I know later. And this was one of those songs where it was like right on the cusp of me being like figuring out my writing style and like figuring out my sound. And so I was like, yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't really know about it. And I played some of my friends and she was like, Lily, like, that's a hit. And I was like, okay. But that song, it was just, I had just written like LA Doesn't Miss Me. And I was like going through this where I was like, oh my God, like people feel so fake. I was like, what's going on? And I ended up writing this song and it just came out so naturally. I wrote it with two of my amazing friends and co-writers, Casey Brown and Sam Gray. It was like the first song we ever wrote together. And we literally wrote it on guitar. We were just jamming, talking, and it literally flowed out so naturally within a couple of hours, which is crazy to me. But I love that song. And I truly think that's like timeless. And me, I'm like, I don't put out music that I don't like because I'm gonna have to sing it for the rest of my life. And I'm like, I just feel so grateful. And I just love that song like just sums up, I don't know, like that just sums up like my relationship with like my fans. It's like real love only. And I don't know. I love that song because it's like, yes, it's like empowering, but it's also like I listen to it sometimes when I'm really sad, but it's just, I love that song. It's real. We always keep it real.
Absolutely, absolutely. So we got to start winding down our conversation. So I want to talk to you about your dream collaborators. Have you thought of the singers, songwriters, producers, and musicians who would help enhance your sound?
Hmm. I feel like I have so many dream collaborators. At the end of the day, I think it's, I love working with the people around me and I think everyone rises up horizontally. Um, so like that's always my number one. It's like I love getting to, bring my individuality to things and work with people that, organically we find each other. But there's so many artists I would love to collab with or do something. Obviously, love Taylor Swift and Lana Del Rey. Really like I said, Chaperone. I love Caroline Polachek. Love her music. I love Ethel Cain. Love Gracie Abrams. I've been listening to her new album lately on repeat. So good. I don't know. I think anybody that wants to write a story. I just love songwriting. I mean, all these people that I named are just amazing songwriters. And I think I just love it when like it's cool when you get to share that passion with somebody who's also like not trying to make music for fame or not trying to make music to get a bunch of streams, but is genuinely like, I want to write a story. I want to like write how I'm feeling and cares about the craft. And like literally anybody who cares about the craft and who just wants to like, it's like you instantly have that bond when you meet somebody who cares about music like that and isn't just doing it to, get famous or to get followers or something. So yeah, always down for adventures and collaborations. Music is crazy.
Absolutely. I was about ready to suggest, how about the man behind some of Taylor Swift and Lana Del Rey's biggest hits? I'm talking about Jack Antonoff.
I love Jack Antonoff. I love The Bleachers. I love Melodrama. It's one of my favorite albums ever. I listen to that album religiously, minimum one time a week. I love Jack, and I love how he's just very passionate about what he does. And I never feel like collaboration should be forced because the thing is, it's like it's kind of similar to like, okay, the second something is popular, everyone's like, oh, you need to write a song that sounds like this. But it's like that song was never popular until it just became popular. Like I think it's always like trust your gut and work with people who love music. And I always like trust that, you meet the people at the right time. And
All right.
music.
I'm gonna put to this out of the universe. Hey, Jack Antonoff, please consider producing and writing a song with the Lake Kincade. That's number one. Number two, please come and visit the Jake Sick with Jacob Elyachar podcast. I would love to have you.
That'd be so fun. One day,
Absolutely.
our paths will cross.
Absolutely. Fingers crossed. And I just set it out to the universe twice. So let's do that. So we got to start writing down and talk about social media. So what's your favorite platform to connect with your fans?
Probably Instagram. My Instagram is at the Lily Kincade, but I'm always on there. I'm always answering DMs. I literally just love talking to everybody about music, life, just everything. Like I just love like, I feel like I'm such a people person. And so I'm always on Instagram all the time, just yapping away. But also, I love TikTok. I love TikTok TikTok feels like fun. Like I feel like we all get to be like fun on TikTok and like do our dances or I love like I've gone live a bunch of times there where I've been like in the process of writing a song because I find it interesting. Like, and so I'm like, okay, there has to be other people that are like to watch how it's made. But yeah, TikTok, Instagram. I'm also on Twitter/X. I don't know what we're calling it now, but Twitter/X. I'm on pretty much everything. I'm kind of everywhere. I'm sadly chronically online, but it's just the internet is so fascinating to me. Like there's so many ideas, like you can never run out of inspiration, you know?
Absolutely, absolutely. So last question, are you ready?
Yes.
Besides social media, where can my audience find your music? And also, if you have anything on tour, where can they find out those dates?
No tour dates yet, but you will know when there are tour dates. Besides social media, my music is obviously on all music platforms, Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, Pandora, all of the places. I'm excited now. I'm working on my first full-length album, working on my new music, and it's fun. It's a journey, but it's so fun. And if there's anyone who has never heard my music before, this is your official welcome into the Kincadian family. That's the name that all my fans chose for themselves. So you are now officially a Kincadian.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And guys, have you missed an episode of the Jake's Take with Jacob Elyachar podcast? Visit our channels on Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Podchaser, Spotify, and Spreaker. Jake's Take with Jacob Elyachar, JACOBELYACHAR. Now, are you on social media? Because I'm on social media too. Facebook, Instagram, Threads, Twitter, and YouTube, and also TikTok. Jacob Elyachar, JACOBELYACHAR. And guys, for more information on Lily's music, my thoughts on America's Got Talent Season 19, who won Masked Singer Season 11, and all more music reviews and interviews, visit the blog that started all, jakes-shake.com. Once again, jakes-shake.com. Lily, it was such a privilege to have you as a guest. Thank you so much for taking time in your schedule to talk with me today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Alrighty, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening. Until next time, have a great one, everybody. Goodbye.